Bgmc. The biblical truth lives here.
The ancient Hebrew scriptures foretold of the Anointed One, Yeshua HaMashiach. The Messiah Yeshua came to call the people back to the truth of His word and to follow that righteous path. Yeshua then called Jewish men to be His disciples, and after His death and resurrection, those Jewish men told the world about the Jewish Messiah. Now, after 2,000 years, Beth Goyim Messianic congregation has that same calling of those Jewish men, telling all people, both Jew and Gentile, about the proper ancient path, teaching the Route 66 King's Highway from Genesis through to Revelation, and how you need and can get back to the proper roots of the faith and a closer walk with God. Now, let's hear the message.
Let's go. Get a blessing. Okay. Test. You're gonna have to turn it down out on the board because we had soft-speaking women on Shabbat, so I didn't change the level. 1 second, everybody, for the translation.
Check. Check. Tristan's taking care of that.
Okay.
Check.
All right, so if you got the PowerPoint, we're on slide number 406.
Estamos en la diapositiva 406.
This is the City Gate Messianic Bible Study, Ephesians part number 30.
Este es el estudio bíblico mesiánico de la puerta de la ciudad. Efesios capítulo 6, parte 30.
Wow. We're in Ephesians chapter 6.
Estamos en Efesios capítulo 6.
We're going to just review a little bit from last week.
Vamos a repasar un poco de la semana pasada.
We're in Ephesians chapter 6 verses 1 through 4.
Estamos en Efesios capítulo 6 versículos 1 al 4.
Children, what should you do in union with the Lord is to obey your parents. This is right. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment that embodies a promise, so that it may go well with you and you may live long in the land. Fathers, don't irritate your children and make them resentful, instead raise them with the Lord's kind of guidance. Okay, so we were talking about this for a couple hours last week.
Estuvimos hablando sobre esto por un par de horas la semana pasada.
Then the chapter starts off about being in union with the Lord.
El capítulo comienza con estar en unión con el Señor.
Because if you're not in union, then you're not going to have any shalom.
Porque si no estás en unión, no vas a tener ningún shalom.
And it quotes the fifth commandment.
Y cita el quinto mandamiento.
In verse 2.
En el versículo 2.
And this proves that Shaul was teaching the Ephesians Torah, these Gentiles Torah.
Que esto comprueba que Shaul o Pablo estaba enseñándole a los gentiles la Torah.
So if he's quoting the commandments, that means he must be teaching it in context.
Si él está citando los mandamientos, significa que él lo está enseñando en contexto.
Okay, and that means that they were outside of Israel.
Y eso significa que ellos estaban afuera de Israel.
And in the Brit Hadashah, Shaul was still teaching them Torah.
Y en el Nuevo Testamento, el Brit Hadashah, Shaul todavía le estaba enseñando la Torah.
A lot of people teach that the Gentiles don't have to follow the Torah.
Muchos enseñan que los gentiles no tienen que seguir la Torah.
And even today, I came across somebody on Facebook.
Y aún hoy me encontré con alguien en Facebook.
A supposed Messianic believer.
Supuestamente es un creyente mesiánico.
He was telling me he was Torah observant.
Diciendo que él era observante de la Torah.
And I looked at his picture and he didn't have a beard.
Y le miré la foto y no tenía barba.
So he says, you only have to have a beard if you live in Israel.
Él dijo que solamente necesitas barba si vives en Israel.
I'm like, what chapter and verse is that in?
Le pregunté qué capítulo y verso se encuentra eso.
And then he goes on to say, the Gentiles don't have to follow the Torah.
Y después siguió a decir que los gentiles no tienen que seguir
What
todo.
a foolish little man.
Qué hombre más tonto.
So I said to him,
Y le dije,
because this is in light of Ephesians chapter 6, verse 2.
porque esto es tocando Efesios 6, versículo 2.
I said, when Jehovah called the Shabbat holy, it was Genesis chapter 2, verse 3.
Cuando Jehová dijo que el Shabbat es santo, eso se encuentra en Génesis capítulo 2, versículo
I asked,
6, right?
no, 2, 3.
Capítulo 2, versículo 3.
I said, you might want to put a book on it because they're going to pop the top off.
No, they're not. It's locked. It's a slide on lock.
Okay. All right. So I said, how many Jews were there that had to respect the holiness of the Shabbat?
Y le pregunté cuántos judíos existían en ese tiempo para respetar la santidad del Shabbat.
And he wouldn't answer my question.
Y él no podía contestarme.
Because he knew he was wrong.
Ya, él sabía que estaba equivocado.
So in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 2,
So, en Efesios capítulo 6, versículo 2,
it says, honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment that embodies a promise.
dice, honra a tu padre y tu madre, que este es el primer mandamiento que con promesa.
So why teach this to the Gentiles unless they got to follow the commandments?
Entonces, ¿por qué enseñarle esto o instruir a los gentiles esto si no, hay que... Repeat that again, please.
Why teach this to the Gentiles unless they have to follow the commandments?
¿Por qué instruir a los gentiles esto a menos que tengan que seguir los mandamientos?
All right, so we did enough of this last week. Let's go to the next slide.
So, vamos a la próxima diapositiva.
We're starting section 2 of chapter 6.
Estamos comenzando la segunda sección del capítulo 6.
We're going to see if we could get through section 2 and maybe some of 3 tonight.
Vamos a ver si podemos terminar la sección 2 y comenzar un poco de la 3.
But we got troublemakers in the study hall tonight.
Tenemos buscabulla en el salón.
All right. Section number 2 is verse 5 through 9.
Sección número 2 son versículos 5 al 9.
Okay, verse 5 through 9. Chapter 6, verse 5 through 9.
Efesios capítulo 6, versículos 5 al 9.
Slaves, obey your human masters with the same fear, trembling, and single-heartedness with which you obey the Messiah. Don't obey just to win their favor, serving only when they are watching you, but serve as slaves of the Messiah, doing what God wants with all your heart. Work willingly as slaves, as people do who are serving not merely human beings, but the Lord. Remember that whoever does good work, whether he is a slave or free man, will be rewarded by the Lord. And masters, treat your slaves the same way. Don't threaten them. Remember that in heaven, both you and they have the same master, and he has no favorites. So let's look at the synopsis.
So, vamos a mirar el resumen.
The key to this section is verse number 9.
La clave para esta sección es el versículo 9.
Because let's read verse 9 again.
Vamos a leer el versículo 9 nuevamente.
And masters, treat your slaves the same way. Don't threaten them. Remember that in heaven, both of you have the same master, and he has no favorites. Amen?
Amen.
So verse 9 says you have the same master.
So, el versículo 9 habla de que tienen el mismo amo.
Now, how many people that pray to idols get into heaven?
¿Cuánta gente que le rezan a los ídolos entran al cielo?
0.
0.
How many people who celebrate holidays that are not found in the Bible get into heaven?
¿Cuánta gente que celebran los días festivos que no se encuentran en la Biblia entran al cielo?
None.
Ninguno.
How many people that don't keep kosher get into heaven?
¿Cuánta gente que no guardan kosher entrarán al cielo?
None.
Ninguno.
So it said both of you have the same master and he has no favorites.
Entonces dice que los dos tienen el mismo amo y él no tiene favorito.
Now, no, I missed a word there.
Se
Two words.
me pasaron dos palabras ahí.
It said in heaven,
Dice en el cielo.
both of you have the same master.
Los dos tienen el mismo amo.
So, once again, he's teaching the law.
Nuevamente él está enseñando la ley.
Because the law talks about slavery.
Porque la ley habla sobre la esclavitud.
But only people that believe in Yeshua are going to get into heaven.
Pero solo aquellos que creen en Yeshua van a entrar al cielo.
Because Yeshua said nobody gets to the Father except through him.
Porque Yeshua dijo, nadie llega al Padre si no es por él.
A lot of people think he's talking about secular slavery here.
Mucha gente piensa que él está hablando de la esclavitud secular.
That's what the church teaches.
Eso es lo que enseña la iglesia.
Oh, don't worry, we'll go over this again. This is just a synopsis of the section.
Esto es solo un resumen de esta sección.
Let's go on to the next slide.
Vamos a la próxima diapositiva.
Okay, let's go. Let's now study verse 5.
Vamos a estudiar el versículo 5.
Slaves, obey your human masters with the same fear, trembling, and single-heartedness with which you obey the Messiah. Now, you must read verse 9 to understand who he's talking to.
Necesitas leer el versículo 9 para entender a quién él está hablando.
Because a lot of people think he's talking about secular slavery.
Porque mucha gente piensa que él está hablando sobre la esclavitud secular.
This is what the whole south part of America, the whole south part of America, I don't want to say it's South America, south part of America.
Esto es lo que en la parte sur de América del Norte,
when they had slaves before the Civil War.
cuando tenían esclavos antes de la guerra civil.
Okay? Now, once a person becomes a believer in Messiah,
Ya cuando uno viene a ser creyente en el Mesías,
then you can only have a slave for up to 7 years.
entonces solo puede tener un esclavo hasta por 7 años.
Okay, so let's read verse 5 again.
So vamos a leer el versículo 5 nuevamente.
Slaves, obey your human masters with the same fear, trembling, and single-heartedness with which you obey the Messiah. Okay? Now let's take a look at the word slaves.
So vamos a mirar la palabra esclavos.
It is G1401.
Es G1401.
It means, number one, a slave,
Significa un esclavo.
a person in a servile condition.
Una persona en una condición de servidumbre.
Okay. So here, what we're talking about in slavery.
Aquí lo que estamos hablando sobre la esclavitud.
Now, in the Torah,
En la Torah,
this is dealing with the Torah for slavery.
esto es tratando con la Torah para la esclavitud.
Because at minimum, we have laws that deal with a few categories of the law that deal with slavery.
Porque tenemos algunas categorías de la ley que tratan sobre la esclavitud.
In category 16,
En categoría 16
we have the court and judicial procedures,
tenemos los procedimientos de la corte judicial
and there's 36 laws in Torah that deal with this.
y hay 36 leyes en Torah que tratan sobre esto.
In these laws, that would be talking about how you become a slave.
Y estas leyes hablan de cómo viene a ser uno un esclavo.
Like, say you steal something
Digamos, te robas algo
and you're caught
y te capturan
and you have to pay back what you stole,
y tienes que reponer lo que pagaste, lo que robaste.
and it gives a certain amount that you have to pay back,
Da una cierta cantidad de que tienes que pagar,
plus the 20%.
más el 20%.
And if you don't have that money,
Y si no tienes ese dinero,
then you become a slave for up to 7 years.
entonces puedes ser esclavo hasta por 7 años.
Okay? We have another category 17,
Tenemos otra categoría 17,
injuries and damages.
daños no, injuries, heridas y daños y heridas.
Okay, and we have 4 laws that deal in that category.
Hay 4 leyes que tratan sobre esa categoría.
Category 18
Categoría 18
has 11 laws that deal with property and property rights.
tiene categoría 18 tiene
11 laws.
tiene 11 leyes que tratan sobre propiedad y los derechos de la propiedad.
Category 19
Categoría 19,
has those are the criminal laws,
esas son las leyes criminales.
and that has 7 laws.
Eso contiene 7 leyes.
And in category 20,
Y en categoría 20
it is punishment and
es
restitution.
castigo y restitución.
This has 24 laws that deal with that category.
Esto tiene 24 leyes que tratan sobre esta categoría.
And this is what he's talking about, what Shaul is talking about in verse number 5.
Y esto es lo que Shaul está hablando en la categoría número 5.
Because a lot of these deal with
En el capítulo 5. Chapter 5.
No, chapter 6, verse 5.
Ok, esto de lo que está hablando Shaul en capítulo 6, versículo 5.
Okay, so when he's talking about slaves obeying your masters,
Cuando él está hablando de que los esclavos que obedezcan a sus amos,
we know from verse 2 he's already teaching the Torah to these Gentiles.
ya sabemos en el versículo 2 que él está enseñando la Torá a los gentiles,
Because he's quoting the 5th commandment.
porque él está citando el 5º mandamiento.
Okay, honor your father and mother,
Honra a tu padre y tu madre.
and you need the rest of the Torah to know how to honor your father and
Y
mother.
necesitas la Torá completa para saber cómo honrar tu padre y tu
And now
madre.
he switches to a different section.
Y ahora él cambia a otra sección diferente.
Let's read Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5 again.
Vamos a leer Efesios capítulo 6, versículo 5 nuevamente.
Slaves, obey your human masters with the same fear, trembling, and single-heartedness with which you obey the Messiah. Okay, so why would you want to fear?
¿Por qué quieras temer?
Okay, because in the Torah it tells the master
Porque en la Torá le dice al amo
how he can treat his property as a slave.
cómo él puede tratar su propiedad como esclavo.
Okay, so now remember verse number 9,
Acuérdate en versículo 9,
both of you have the same, in heaven both of you have the same master.
en el cielo los dos tienen el mismo amo.
They're going at it, tickling each other. Okay? So, this is what is very important to understand.
Esto es lo que es bien importante para entender.
He is not talking about secular slavery.
Él no está hablando sobre la esclavitud secular.
And key is verse number 2 and number 9.
Y la clave son versículos 2 y el versículo 9.
Has everybody seen this?
¿Todos están viendo esto?
Let's go on to the next slide.
Vamos a la próxima diapositiva.
Okay? Now, here let's read verse 5 again.
Vamos a leer el versículo 5 nuevamente.
Slaves, obey your human masters with the same fear, trembling, and single-heartedness with which you obey the Messiah. Now, let's see what the word obey means.
Vamos a ver qué significa la palabra obedecer.
Obey is G5219.
Obedecer es G5219.
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 Obey means to number 1, to listen.
Obedecer significa, número 1, escuchar.
Number 2, to listen to a command.
Escuchar o prestar atención a un mandamiento.
Number 3, to obey.
Obedecer.
Be obedient to.
Ser obedecer a.
Submit to.
Y sujetarse a.
You have to submit to this person who's now your master
Tiene que sujetarte a esta persona que es tu amo
because of something that you have, that you're experiencing.
por algo que está experimentando.
You know, you had a business deal go bad,
Tuviste un trato de negocio que se fue en mala,
Fracasó.
se fracasó
and you borrowed money,
y tomaste dinero prestado
and now the person who lent you the money wants the money back because you said you were going to pay him.
y ahora la persona a quien le tomaste el dinero prestado quiere que le regrese el dinero porque tú le dijiste que le iba a pagar
And you don't have the money.
y no tienes el dinero.
Well, the Torah says now you have to become a slave.
La Torah dice que ahora tienes que ser un esclavo.
Well, I don't want to become a slave.
Pero yo no quiero ser esclavo.
Well, the rules are the rules.
Las reglas son las reglas.
You borrowed the money,
Cogiste el dinero prestado.
you just can't claim bankruptcy like in America.
No puede reclamar la bancarrota como en América.
You had to guarantee that money with your person.
Tú tienes que garantizar ese dinero con tu persona.
Yes, sir.
Now, you're a slave up to 7 years.
6 full years.
6 full years, 7th year is the year of Jubilee. That's the year you go free. But are you a slave for the full 6 years, or are you a slave until you pay back what you owe?
Till you pay back what you owe.
Yo le pregunté a Rabino que siendo que uno es esclavo por 7 años, pero son 6 años enteros, el 7º año es el año de jubileo, el año que uno va libre, pero si uno es esclavo por los 6 años completos o hasta que uno pague de vuelta lo que uno debe, y el Rabino dijo que hasta que uno pague lo que uno debe.
Like Joseph in the Bible
Como Joseph en la Biblia, José
was a slave,
era un esclavo,
but he became rich during the time of his slavery.
pero se hizo rico durante su época de esclavitud.
So had he been under Torah,
So, si él estaba bajo la Torah
and Potiphar was a believer in God,
y Potífero era un creyente en Dios,
then he could have purchased his freedom.
entonces él podía pagar por su libertad.
See, our jail system,
Nuestro sistema de encarcelamiento,
see, what most people don't realize
lo que la mayoría no entienden,
is when you went to jail,
es que cuando ibas a la cárcel,
you would get so much money per day while you were in jail.
te daban cierta cantidad al día mientras estuvieras en...
But that money was not supposed to go to you.
Pero ese dinero no iba a ti,
It was supposed to go to your victim,
iba a la víctima.
not the way we have it in our world today, in
No como
America
lo
today.
tenemos aquí en América hoy en día. Wow.
Everybody hear that?
Todos escucharon eso.
See, this is what happens when you don't study.
Esto es lo que sucede cuando no estudias.
Okay, so the guy and the family was the one who set the price for what you did.
Y la familia era la que ponía el precio por lo que tú hiciste.
Most people don't realize that our judicial system was set up on the Torah.
Mucha gente no entiende que nuestro sistema judicial fue implementado sobre nuestra Torah.
So let's say you owe $500
So, digamos que debes $500
and you made $1 a day.
y te ganabas $1 al día.
That $1 a day didn't go to you.
Ese $1 al día no te iba a ti,
It went to the victim of your crime,
y se lo daban al víctima de tu crimen.
and then once the $500 were paid, then you'd be able to get out of jail.
Y cuando los $500 fueran pagados, entonces tú podrías salir de la cárcel.
Okay, but in the jail,
Pero en la cárcel,
or you would become a slave to that family.
tú venías a ser esclavo a esa familia.
They can treat you the way Torah said they can treat you, and it's pretty harsh.
Ellos te pueden tratar como dice la Torah, y es bastante fuerte.
You had to do what the master said to do.
Tú tenías que hacer lo que te mandaba el amo.
Okay, so here the word obey
Aquí la palabra obedecer
means to be obedient to,
significa ser obediente,
submit to.
y sujetarte a.
Now, how many people didn't agree with what I just said or
¿Cuántos no,
found it
no
hard?
están de acuerdo con lo que yo terminé de decir?
Okay. Now, there's a lot of people that don't agree with that.
Hay mucha gente que no están de acuerdo con eso.
They don't agree with slavery.
No están de acuerdo con la esclavitud.
Well, do you agree with God?
¿Estás de acuerdo con Dios?
Hopefully you agree with God.
Espero que estés de acuerdo con Dios.
See, Yeshua, the Messiah, is our master.
Yeshua el Mesías es nuestro amo.
And he said in Matthew 5, verse 18,
Y él dijo en Mateo 5:18
that not one jot or tittle will be lost from the law until heaven and earth pass away.
que ni una jota ni un tilde desaparecerá de la ley hasta que el cielo y la tierra desaparezcan.
So if you're some idiot that thinks that you only got to follow the Torah when you're in Israel,
O sea, aquí hay un idiota que piensa que solo tiene que seguir la Torah cuando estás en Israel.
or you're some unlearned person that thinks the Gentile don't have to follow the law,
O si eres una persona falta de educación que piensa que el gentil no tiene que seguir la ley,
then you're not being obedient to the master.
entonces no estás no estás obedeciendo al amo.
Because in Malachi 3, verse 6,
Porque en Malaquía 3, versículo 6,
the Lord said what?
el Señor dijo que
I don't change.
yo no cambio.
Jehovah said, I don't change.
Jehová dijo yo no cambio.
Right?
¿Verdad?
Okay. So, if he doesn't change,
Él no cambia.
then why wouldn't the Gentiles have to follow the laws for keeping Shabbat holy? Why wouldn't the Gentiles have to
Si
follow the
él
law?
no cambia, entonces ¿por qué los gentiles no tendrán que seguir la ley de guardar el Shabbat Santo?
Since especially in Exodus 12, Shemot 12,
Como especialmente en Génesis, en Éxodo versículo 12,
he said if the Gentiles want to celebrate Pesach, they have to be circumcised.
que él dice que si los gentiles quieren celebrar el Pesach, ellos tienen que ser circuncidados.
And Messiah said, do the Pesach in remembrance of me.
Y Mesías dijo, hagan el Pesach en mi memoria.
But the only way to do that
Y de única manera de hacer eso,
is to be, if a males have to be circumcised.
que los varones necesitan ser circuncidados.
So we have to become slaves to Messiah.
Tenemos que venir a ser esclavos del Mesías.
We have to submit to Messiah.
Tenemos que sujetarnos al Mesías.
We have to be obedient to the Messiah who's obedient to the Father.
Tenemos que ser obediente al Mesías que fue obediente al Padre.
So we have to keep the Shabbat holy because Yeshua said, I'm the Lord of the Shabbat.
Tenemos que guardar el Shabbat santo y porque Yeshua dijo, yo soy el Señor del Shabbat.
Okay, so let's understand this now in verse number 5.
So vamos a entender esto ahora en el versículo 5.
Slaves, obey your human masters with the same fear, trembling, and single-heartedness with which you obey the Messiah. Okay, so here Shaul is telling these Gentiles
So aquí Shaul le está diciendo a estos gentiles
to obey their human masters.
que obedezcan a sus amos humanos.
Well, it's saying human masters.
¿Ah?
It's saying human masters.
Dice amos humanos.
Well, who's he writing this letter to?
¿A quién él está escribiendo esta carta?
He's writing it to the congregation.
Le está escribiendo a la congregación.
And remember verse number 9.
Acuérdate el versículo número
In
9.
heaven, both of you have the same master.
En el cielo los dos tienen el mismo amo.
So let me put this question to you.
So déjame hacerte esta pregunta.
Do we think Pilate is in heaven?
¿Pensamos que Pilato está en el cielo?
The guy who signed, the Gentile who signed Yeshua's death warrant.
El gentil que firmó que firmó la muerte de Yeshua.
No, he's not in heaven.
No, él no está en el cielo.
So, in heaven, both of you have the same master?
So en el cielo los dos tienen el mismo amo.
I don't think Pilate's going to be there.
Yo no creo que Pilato va a estar
I
ahí.
don't think Nancy Pelosi's going to be there.
Yo no creo que Nancy Pelosi va a estar ahí.
And
Yeah.
Joseph?
But I think is because they're gonna meet him at some point for the time of
Judgment.
the judgment. Thank you. That's why, because how it's gonna be that they're gonna be there? There must be as the same as all tribe and all nations will be over there. So they have to see him at some point. They gotta see Yeshua because he's gonna be in your trial right there. So they have to see him.
You're not going to be in heaven.
You're not gonna be in heaven, but they're gonna see him.
The democrats are not going to be in heaven.
No, that does definitely.
And anybody who voted for the vaccine that didn't pass is not going to be in heaven. Because the first paragraph of the New Jersey Constitution mentions God 3 times.
El primer
The first paragraph
parágrafo, thank you, couldn't get that one out.
of the
El
New
primer
Jersey
parágrafo en la Constitución de New Jersey menciona a Dios 3 veces.
3 times.
3 veces.
Okay. All right, so back to this.
So, regresando a esto,
So he's talking to a Messianic congregation.
él está hablando a una congregación mesiánica,
He's talking to Gentiles who have converted to Messianic Judaism.
le está hablando a conversos gentiles que han venido al judaísmo mesiánico,
They've left the pagan worship.
se apartaron o salieron de la adoración pagana.
Okay, so now he's saying if you have to become a slave,
So, ahora le está diciendo que si tienes que ser esclavo,
that you have to obey your human masters.
tienes que obedecer a sus amos humanos.
Okay, you have to submit to these human masters.
Tienes que sujetarte a estos amos humanos.
I know we're going slowly here
Estamos yendo despacio aquí.
because I've heard so many teachings that get this wrong.
He escuchado tantas enseñanzas que se equivocan aquí,
Because they miss verse 9.
porque no miran el versículo 9.
Most people do not know how to read the Bible. No, most people do not know how to read the Bible.
La mayoría de personas no sabe leer la Biblia.
You have to read it as a whole to get the concept in a section.
Tienen que leerlo completo para poder say that again, Rav. I'm sorry.
You have to read the whole to get what the section means.
Tienes que leerlo todo para entender lo que quiere decir esa sección.
Because you have to read verse 5, 6, 7, and 8
Tienes que leer versículos 5, 6, 7 y 8
with the understanding that you've already read verse 9.
con el entendimiento que ya has leído el versículo 9.
And most Christians can't get through 2 verses at the same time.
Y la mayoría de cristianos no pueden leer 2 versículos a la misma vez.
And sadly, this Messianic Jew today, Messianic person today, wears a kippah and says you only have to have appeared in Israel.
Y también, tristemente, este creyente mesiánico que se comunicó conmigo, que usa una kippah y dice que solo puedes tener una barba en Israel.
I mean, where did you come up with that one?
¿De dónde sacaste eso?
Well, you only read you're not even reading Torah, you're reading the Talmud.
No, aún no estás leyendo Torah, estás leyendo el Talmud.
We didn't even get to the part where no matter where you live in Leviticus 23, Vayikra 23.
No hemos llegado ni aún al versículo que dice no importa dónde mores en Levítico.
And remember the Lord, we celebrated Pesach while we were in Egypt.
Acuérdate que celebramos Pesach cuando estábamos en Egipto.
We celebrated Pesach in the desert. It says in the book of Bamidbar. We weren't in the land yet.
Celebramos Pesach en el desierto, que dice en Números, y no estábamos en la tierra todavía.
We were given the law while we weren't in the land, so we had to grow beards while we were not in the land.
Nos dio la ley Jehová en el desierto y no estábamos aún en la tierra y teníamos que crecer nuestras barbas.
We circumcised our children before we got to the land.
Circuncidamos nuestros hijos antes de llegar a la tierra.
And the men that were not circumcised at Pesach that we celebrated in the desert.
¿De what?
Remember in the desert,
En el desierto
we celebrated Pesach.
celebramos el Pesach.
And the men that weren't circumcised, they had to get circumcised.
Y los hombres que no estaban circuncidados tenían que
And we
circuncidarse.
weren't even in the promised land
Y
yet.
aún no estábamos en la tierra prometida todavía,
But we still had to celebrate Pesach.
pero teníamos que celebrar la Pesach todavía.
And keep the
Pesach
Shabbat.
Y guardar el Shabbat.
And we weren't in the promised land.
Y no estábamos en la tierra
So
prometida.
read your whole Bible, please.
So, lean la Biblia entera, por favor.
This is what Shaul was trying to teach the guys
Esto
in
lo-
in Ephesus.
Esto es lo que Shaul estaba tratando de enseñar a los gentiles aquí en Efesios.
Submit to your masters.
Sujétanse a sus amos.
The same way you're supposed to submit to the Messiah.
De la misma manera que tienes que sujetarte al Mesías.
Let's go to the next slide.
Vamos a la próxima diapositiva.
Because now we gotta stop paying attention to the rats.
No, it's just-
They're not kosher.
This is that they were fighting.
They were fighting, one of them was bleeding.
Well, that's what hamsters do. When they have nothing else to do, when there's nothing else to do in that, you get down each other's nerves. Are you looking at me again?
That's why he was talking.
All right. All right. Now, verse 5 again.
Ahora el versículo 5 nuevamente,
Because now we dealt with obeying.
porque ya hemos mirado a obedecer.
Let's now deal with what the word master is.
Ahora vamos a ver qué significa la palabra amo.
Slaves, obey your human masters with the same fear, trembling, and single-heartedness with which you obey the Messiah. Okay, so now we have to remember verse number 9.
Acuérdense del versículo número 9,
In heaven, both of you are going to have the same master.
que en el cielo los dos van a tener el mismo amo.
So what is a master?
So, ¿qué es un amo?
G2962.
G2962.
G2962
G2962.
means number 1,
Significa número 1,
he to a person or a thing belongs.
él a quien una persona o cosa le pertenece.
The master has the power of deciding.
El amo tiene el poder de decidir.
Number 2,
Número 2,
master means the possessor or disposer of a thing.
I always get stuck on disposer. El que
When you dispossess somebody,
el que posee o dispone de algo. ¿Dispone?
the person who takes your stuff. Let's look it up. Let's get the right Spanish word. Got it? Disposer.
Desposeer.
It sounds more
Posee
French
o
that way.
desposeer de algo. ¿Ya? Desahuciar. Desposeer.
Okay. The master is number 3, the owner.
Amo es el dueño,
One who has control
el que tiene control
of another person.
de otra persona.
Number 4,
Número 4,
the sovereign,
el soberano,
the prince,
príncipe,
chief,
el jefe,
and to put it in a secular sense, the Roman
y
emperor.
ponerlo en un sentido secular, el emperador romano.
Okay, so the master
El amo
is the person who's going to have the power to decide what you're going to do today.
es la persona que tiene el poder en decidir lo que tú vas a hacer hoy.
So if he tells you to go work in the field and you say it's too hot,
So, si él te manda a trabajar en el campo y tú le dices que está muy caliente,
the master can then take out his whip and beat you.
entonces el amo puede sacar su látigo y
Well, that's
darte
not right.
latigazo.
That's not right.
Eso no es justo.
Well, you should have thought about that before you stole the car.
Hubieras pensado en eso antes de que te robaste el carro.
You should have thought about that before you stole the animal.
Hubieras pensado en eso antes de que te robaste el animal.
See, wouldn't it be great if this was what we're still doing today?
¿No sería esto fabuloso si estuviéramos haciendo esto todavía?
I think we should absolutely go back to this.
pienso que absolutamente debemos de regresar a
And when
eso.
America breaks apart and we have our own little country,
Y cuando América se divide y tenemos nuestro propio país,
this is the law we are going to follow.
esta es la ley que vamos a seguir.
That remember, it has laws for how the master can treat his property.
Acuérdate que tiene leyes de cómo el amo puede tratar su propiedad.
Now, here in this verse, it's a very important verse, number 5.
Ahora aquí es un versículo importante, el número 5.
Let's read verse 5 again.
Vamos a leer el versículo 5 nuevamente.
Slaves, obey your human masters with the same fear, trembling, and single-heartedness with which you obey the Messiah. Okay? So here he's saying, obey your masters
Aquí él está diciendo obedezcan sus amos
the way you're supposed to obey Yeshua.
de la manera que tienes que obedecer a Yeshua.
Now, he's the sovereign over us.
Él es el soberano sobre nosotros.
He's the prince.
Él es el príncipe.
He's the chief.
Él es el jefe.
He's the emperor over our lives.
Él es el emperador sobre nuestras vidas.
How many of you try to tell Yeshua what to do?
¿Cuántos tratan de decirle a Yeshua lo que él puede hacer?
Where's Evelyn?
¿A dónde está Evelyn?
I got another person in mind, but I'm going to leave that one alone. Okay. So here, you have to think of your master,
So aquí tienes que pensar sobre tu amo,
what he's telling them.
lo que él está diciendo.
Now understand what's the reason. Let me pose a question.
Deja hacer una pregunta.
What is the reason he's saying this?
¿Cuál es la razón que él está diciendo esto?
Because remember, he's talking to new converts
Acuérdate que él está hablando a nuevos conversos,
to Messianic Judaism, Torah observant Messianic
al
Judaism.
judaísmo mesiánico observante de la Torah.
And the way a secular deals with being a slave,
Y como un secular trata de ser esclavo,
and the way a believer that's working for another fear of God
y un creyente que está trabajando por otro creyente o temeroso de Dios.
the way that person is supposed to obey the master
Como esa persona debe de obedecer al amo,
is like you're obeying Yeshua the Messiah.
es como si estuviera obedeciendo a Yeshua el Mesías.
It's a different way of looking at things.
Es una manera diferente de mirar las cosas.
Well, what about what about Joseph?
Pero ¿y qué de José?
Well, he obeyed his master
Él obedeció a su amo
because he also feared for his life.
porque él también temó por su vida.
Okay, and he was blessed.
Y él fue bendecido.
But here, what Shaul is writing to the babies about
Aquí lo que Shaul está hablándole a los nuevos conversos
is a different philosophy than what was going on in Ephesus.
es una filosofía diferente de lo que estaba ocurriendo en Éfeso.
Now think of this,
Piensa de esto,
because in verse number 9, in heaven both you have the same master.
porque en el versículo 9 dice que los dos en el cielo tienen el mismo amo.
So you're working for a fellow person from the believing community.
Estás trabajando por un creyente de la comunidad.
Would you try to run away from the Lord, Jonah?
¿Vas a tratar de huir del Señor, Jonás?
The Lord will then put you into a deeper hole.
El Señor te pondrá en un hoyo más profundo.
And then when you're about to die, that's when you cry out to the Lord.
Y cuando estás a punto de morir, vas a clamarle al Señor.
Joseph?
I have a question regarding the slave part there, because Rabbi was talking about when we have things go bad and there's a little country of Messiah believers and followers. So it would be how that works if somebody wants to be like the slave part, like let's say an inconvert person approaches and says, I want to do anything you tell me in order for you to feed me. And because I have the means to feed that person, at that moment is chaos. Do we go back to the part you have to follow my laws? You have to believe in my God in order for you to be here, or how? I'm trying to wrap around that. And can he or she, whatever, be the slave at that moment from a Messianic community, an outsider?
Okay, so I'll paraphrase the question. The question was this:
La pregunta fue esta.
if the world goes crazy
Si el mundo se vuelve está fuera de control
and we have our own community,
y tenemos nuestra propia comunidad,
at that community's front gate
en el portón de esa comunidad
is going to be the commandments real big.
van a estar los mandamientos en letra grande.
That means that if you want to become part of this community, you have to agree to those commandments.
Significa que si quieres ser parte de esa comunidad, tiene que estar de acuerdo con esos mandamientos.
Now, the commandments also say, leave the corners of your field
El mandamiento también dice que deje las esquinas de sus granjas,
for
de
the
sus campos,
poor and the goyim, the foreigner.
para el pobre y para el extranjero.
So they can go take the corner if they wish, even if they don't want to be part of the community.
So ellos pueden ir y recoger de las esquinas del campo, de la granja, aunque no quieran seguir los
And that
mandamientos.
area is going to be marked off.
Y esa área va a estar con límites, va a estar marcado.
But if she wants to become part of the community,
Pero si quiere ser parte de la comunidad,
she can work in the field just like we see in the book of Ruth,
puede trabajar en el campo, igual como vemos en el libro de
where
Ruth,
this Moabite woman who had married into Israel
a donde esta moabita pudo casarse y ser parte de Israel.
was enabled to go work in Boaz's field.
Fue permitida trabajar en la granja de Boaz,
But she wasn't a slave.
pero ella no era esclava.
She was a widower, so you have the laws about widowers,
Ella
Widows.
era viuda y tenemos las leyes sobre las viudas,
because her husband had died.
porque su esposo había muerto.
But she still was a foreigner,
Pero todavía era extranjera,
although she had become a Jew in spirit because of her prayer.
aunque se vino a ser judía en espíritu por su oración.
But the land rights went back to her mother.
Pero los derechos de la tierra regresaron a su madre.
Okay, so here if somebody wants to become a slave, what Shaul is writing here in Ephesians 6 verse 5,
Aquí, si alguien quiere ser esclavo, de acuerdo a lo que está escribiendo Shaul en el capítulo 6, versículo 5,
what verse 5 is pointing out
lo que el versículo 5 está señalando
is they have to be a believer in Messiah.
es que tienen que ser creyentes en el Mesías.
Because it says, in the same fear and trembling and single-heartedness with which you obey the Messiah, that means you believe in him.
Porque dice con el mismo temor y corazón en cual tú obedeces al Mesías.
And you have to obey your master,
Y tienes que obedecer a tu amo.
your earthly master,
Tu amo terrenal,
as if he's the prince of your life,
como si él fuera príncipe de tu vida,
as he's sovereign over your life.
como si él es soberano sobre ti.
But if you don't,
Pero si no,
you're not only disrespecting the master,
no es simplemente estar faltándole respeto al amo,
you're disrespecting Messiah Yeshua,
estás faltándole respeto a Yeshua el Mesías,
and you're disrespecting the Father, Jehovah, the Eternal One, blessed be his name.
y estás faltándole respeto a Jehová el Eterno, bendito sea su nombre.
Is everybody understanding this?
¿Todos entienden esto?
All right, let's move on to the next slide.
Vamos a la próxima diapositiva.
Ooh, we're still in number 5.
Todavía estamos en el versículo 5.
Slaves, obey your human masters with the same fear and trembling and single-heartedness with which you obey the Messiah. Okay, now remember verse 9 again.
Acuérdate el versículo 9 nuevamente.
Okay, so what he's saying in a different way in verse number 5,
Lo que él está diciendo en otra manera en el versículo 5.
you have to obey your human masters as if you're reverencing them.
Tiene que obedecer a sus amos terrenales, humanos, como si le está dando reverencia.
They have authority over you.
Ellos tienen la autoridad sobre ti.
They have power over you.
Tienen el poder sobre ti.
So the key is never to become a slave.
So, la clave es nunca ser esclavo.
Okay? So if you don't want to become a slave, follow the Torah.
Si no quieres ser esclavo, sigue la Torah.
Okay? Now, here they have authority and a power over you.
Aquí tienen la autoridad y el poder sobre ti.
And one of the things that you should be worried about,
Y una de las cosas de cual te debes de preocupar,
that Shaul is writing here in verse number
que
5,
Shaul está escribiendo aquí en el versículo
is
5,
making your master angry.
es enojar a tu amo.
You know, I always go back to the book of Revelation and the 7 seals.
Siempre regreso al libro de Apocalipsis y los 7 sellos.
Because the church teaches, oh, Jesus is all love.
Porque la iglesia enseña que Jesús es todo amor.
Isn't he the one that opens the seals and kills a quarter of the planet?
¿No es el que abre los sellos y mata un cuarto del planeta?
Isn't he one that says, yeah, pour out that bowl?
Él no es el que dice, sí, derrama esa copa.
And he's not talking about a bowl of
Y
Cheerios.
no está hablando de una copa de cereal.
You know? So, you know, you got to obey him, your master here on earth,
Tienes que obedecer a tu amo aquí en la tierra,
okay, the way you would obey Yeshua and displeasing him.
como debes de obedecer a Yeshua and
Displeasing him, and making him angry.
y no agradarlo.
Okay? Because Torah talks about being blessed
Porque la Torah habla sobre ser bendecido
if you follow the commandments.
si sigues los mandamientos.
Okay? It's your disobedience to the Torah
Es tu desobediencia hacia la Torah
that put them in charge of you.
que los puso a ellos en tu cargo.
Well, what did Ruth do?
¿Qué fue lo que Ruth hizo?
Well, she was a Moabite, so they were cursed people.
¿Ella era moabitas o eran un pueblo maldito?
Are there still generational curses? Well, is the second commandment still there?
Todavía hay maldiciones generacionales. Todavía existe el segundo mandamiento.
Yeah, the second commandment is still there.
Sí, el segundo mandamiento todavía existe.
And once you get old enough, you can have a house of your own.
Y cuando tengas tu edad, cuando estés mayor, puedes tener tu propia
So I
casa.
believe this is the last slide on verse number 5.
Pienso que este es la última diapositiva del versículo 5.
So if you ever have to be a slave
So, si tienes que ser esclavo,
to somebody, what he's saying here, to somebody in the community,
lo que él está diciendo de alguien que ya está en la comunidad,
serve them like you serve Elohim.
sírvele a ellos como le servirás a Elohim.
Okay, because remember Jonah, he didn't get away.
Acuérdate, Jonás, él no se escapó
And, you know, he almost had to die before he yielded to the Lord.
y casi tuvo que morir antes de clamar al Señor.
Okay, now that we've done verse 5 for almost an hour,
Ya como hemos estudiado el versículo 5 por casi una hora,
and you might be bored, but I don't care.
tal vez está aburrido, pero a mí no me importa.
Because, I've been like checking out some other teachers. I'm like, these guys don't know how to teach.
Yo he estado mirando otros maestros en el internet y he concluido que no saben enseñar.
Teaching needs to be thorough. If you're going to rush the Bible, then don't study it at all.
Tienes que enseñar la Biblia completamente y si vas a apurar la enseñanza, entonces
If you're-
no estudies.
If you're going to speed read through the Bible, go get 50 Shades of Grey or something
Uy.
like that.
Si vas a leer la Biblia rápido, entonces mejor léete 50 sombras de gris.
Okay?
50 Shades of Grey.
So let's now read verse 5 and 6.
Vamos a leer ahora el versículo 5 y 6.
Slaves, obey your human masters with the same fear and trembling, and single-heartedness with which you obey the Messiah. Don't obey just to win their favor, serving only when they are watching you, but serve as slaves of the Messiah, doing what God wants with all your heart. Okay? Now we see in verse number 6,
Ahora lo que vemos en el versículo 6,
we see the word God used in verse number 6.
vemos la palabra Dios que se usa en el versículo 6.
We know that in verse 23,
Sabemos que en el versículo 23,
we see in verse 23,
vemos en el versículo 23,
when we see the word God,
cuando vemos la palabra Dios,
hold on a second. Tech department, check the YouTube stream. I'm getting. Let me see what the text is. Oh, yeah. Sorry, don't worry about the YouTube. We haven't used Skype. Evelyn, we haven't used Skype in like almost a year. Thank you, Denise. Evelyn's typing that Skype is not working. We haven't used Skype in a year. We just send the link out. Okay, because nobody was on it. All right. Let's go back to this study now.
vamos a regresar a este estudio.
All right. Slaves, obey your human masters the same fear and trembling and single-heartedness to which you obey the Messiah. Don't obey just to win their favor, serving only when they're watching you, but serve as slaves to the Messiah, doing what God wants with all your heart. Okay. Now, verse number 6, we see the word God used.
Ahora vemos en el versículo 6 la palabra, el título Dios que se usa.
We know from verse 23 and other verses
Vemos desde en el versículo 23 y también otros versículos,
but specifically in this particular chapter,
pero específicamente en este capítulo,
that when we see the word God,
que cuando vemos la palabra Dios,
it is not referring to Messiah Yeshua.
no está refiriendo a Yeshua el Mesías,
It says it is referring to God the Father,
es en referencia a Dios el Padre.
and that is in verse 23.
Y eso es en el versículo 23.
Okay, and as we already know from the scripture,
Y ya como sabemos sobre la escritura,
the Father does not slumber or sleep.
que el Padre no se adormece ni duerme.
Hine lo yanum. He neither slumbers nor sleep.
Lo yanum.
Okay, so we know that from the other parts of the Bible that the Father never sleeps.
Sabemos de otra parte de la Biblia que el Padre nunca duerme.
So when you're serving as a slave,
Cuando está sirviendo como esclavo,
you need to serve the master
necesita servir el amo
as you would the master, the Father,
como servirás al amo, el Padre,
with all your heart.
con todo tu corazón.
Let's go on to the next slide.
Beahafta.
Ve'ahavta.
Vamos a la próxima diapositiva.
Okay, let me go back one slide.
Vamos a regresar un momentito.
All right, let's go back. Let's go to verse number 7.
Vamos al versículo 7,
It's actually 7 through 9.
actualmente del versículo 7 al 9.
Any questions so far?
¿Hay preguntas hasta ahora?
You're good over there in WebEx land?
Están bien allá en la tierra de Webex.
Oh, see to the side? Okay. All right. Verse 7 through 9. Let me just get a drink of water.
Versículos 7 al 9.
Work willingly as slaves, as people do who are serving not merely human beings, but the Lord. Remember that whoever does good work, whether he be a slave or a free man, will be rewarded by the Lord. And masters, treat your slaves the same way. Don't threaten them. Remember that in heaven, both you and they have the same master, and he has no favorites. Okay,
Okay.
so once again, we get to verse number 9,
Nuevamente llegamos al versículo 9,
that both of you in heaven,
que los dos en el cielo.
so this is once again proving that we're following Torah.
Esto nuevamente comprueba que estamos siguiendo Torah.
So let's look at verse 7 again.
So miremos al versículo 7 nuevamente.
Work willingly as slaves, as people do who are serving not merely human beings, but the Lord. Okay, so let's look about the word willingly.
Vamos a mirar la palabra dispuesto.
Because a lot of people, say, I have to forgive you, but I don't want to forgive you.
Muchos dicen, tengo que perdonarte, pero no quiero perdonarte.
Okay? Torah says I have to forgive you.
La Torah dice que tengo que perdonarte,
But I don't want to forgive you.
pero en verdad no te quiero perdonar.
Well, then you're not forgiving at all, and you're just going to harbor bad feelings, right?
Entonces no estás perdonando y vas a tener rencor.
When is Shabbat going to be over?
Ay, ¿cuándo se va a acabar el Shabbat?
I'm keeping Shabbat holy, but I just can't wait till it's over.
Estoy manteniendo el Shabbat santo, pero no puedo esperar que se termine.
Then why even do it at all?
Entonces, ¿por qué hacerlo?
Do you think the Father is stupid?
¿Tú crees que Dios el Padre es estúpido?
He can't hear your thoughts?
Él no puede escuchar tus pensamientos.
So now he's saying, if you got to be a slave, do it willingly.
So, aquí él está diciendo que si tienes que ser esclavo, hazlo voluntariamente.
You were the one who chose to steal.
Tú fuiste que elegiste robar.
You were the one who chose to lie.
Tú decidiste mentir.
Nobody was forcing you to lie.
Nadie te esforzó para que mintieras.
Whatever the law says that causes you to be a slave,
Lo que la ley dice que te causa ser esclavo,
nobody was forcing you to break the law.
nadie te esforzó o te mandó romper la ley.
So he says, work willingly as slaves.
Dice, trabajen voluntariamente como esclavos.
So willingly is G2133.
Voluntariamente es G2133.
Okay, G2133.
G2133.
It means number 1,
Significa número 1,
goodwill,
buena voluntad,
kindness.
bondad.
You mean I gotta like being a slave?
Significa que me tiene que gustar o agradar ser esclavo.
Well, if you're going to be a slave for the next 6 full years, you might as well get used to it.
Si vas a ser esclavo por los próximos 6 años, acostúmbrate.
Let me say that again.
Deja repetirlo.
It's Yaakov.
Jacob,
I'll work 7 years for your daughter.
yeah, yo trabajo 7 años por tu hija.
At least start off with maybe 2 years.
Por lo menos comienza con 2 años.
I'll work 7 years and start off right at the top.
Yo trabajo 7 años.
Who is going to take that deal?
There's no negotiation. Wait, are we the best negotiators?
Well, we've learned from that mistake.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man.
Can not only
Chopping it up.
I mean, when we get up there, I'm going to smack. What were you thinking?
¿Qué estaba pensando?
All right. So it says, be willing as slaves. Be goodwill.
De buena voluntad, sea esclavos voluntarios.
If you're gonna be there for 6 full years, you might as well like it.
Si vas a estar ahí por 6 años completos, acostúmbrate.
It's better to go to work happy when I hate this job.
Es mejor ir al trabajo alegre que decir, ay, ya odio este trabajo.
I mean,
Este bendito
because you can't
trabajo.
quit.
Porque no te puedes ir, no te puedes rajar, no puedes dejar el trabajo.
You don't get no sick days.
No te dan días de enfermo.
You get the holy days. You get the holy days off.
Solo los días santos libres.
Okay, because remember, you're working for somebody else who believes in God.
Acuérdate que está trabajando para otro que es temeroso de Dios.
But it
que
was
cree en
not.
Dios.
It was not that person that did the crime. You did the crime.
Pero no fue esa persona que cometió el crimen, tú lo cometiste.
Okay. Now, G2133 comes from G2132.
G2133 viene de la palabra G2132.
Okay? So this one is kindness, like the first one.
Bondadoso.
Euphemistically, conjugal duty. You know, very familiar duty.
Es un deber familiar.
So here, as a slave, he's telling them,
Como esclavo le está diciendo,
do it like you're doing it for family or for your wife or your husband.
hazlo como si lo estuviera haciendo para tu familia, tu esposa o tu esposo.
Okay? This is what he's telling them to do, which is totally opposite of the secular world.
Esto es lo que él estaba diciendo que hicieran y que era totalmente el opuesto del mundo secular.
This is opposite of the you mean you want me to be happy to be a slave to the warden?
¿Tú quieres que yo sea feliz siendo esclavo al jefe de la prisión?
Well, you're going to be there for a while, you might as well like it.
Si vas a estar ahí por un buen tiempo, tal vez que te agrade.
It'll make the time go a lot faster.
Hace que el tiempo pase más rápido.
Okay? So he's telling them, be willing.
Él está diciendo a ellos, estén dispuestos.
Let's go on to the next slide.
La próxima diapositiva.
Verse number 7 again.
Versículo 7 nuevamente.
Work willingly as slaves, as people do, who are not serving merely human beings, but the Lord. Okay? So you're serving this human brother
Estás sirviendo a este hermano humano
as you're serving the Lord.
mientras estás sirviéndole al Señor.
Now, I know many of you who come to this congregation fight with the Lord.
Y yo sé que muchos de ustedes que vienen a esta congregación están luchando con el Señor.
And you try to tell the Lord what to do.
Y le has tratado de decirle al Señor qué es lo que Él debe de hacer.
So this is why you're in the position that you're in.
Por eso que estás en la posición en la cual estás.
What he's trying to tell them and he's telling the congregations today
Pero lo que Él está tratando de decir a ellos y a las congregaciones de hoy
is they have authority over your life.
es que ellos tienen la autoridad sobre sus vidas.
So be willing.
Estén dispuestos.
Now, if you're working, in verse number 9, you're working for a fellow believer.
En el versículo 9 estás trabajando para un otro creyente en el Señor.
So they're not going to do something that is contradictory to Torah.
So ellos no van a hacer algo que contradice la Torah.
Let me say that again.
De a repetir eso.
If your verse number 9 tells us that this person that you're a slave to
El versículo 9 nos dice a esta persona a quien eres esclavo,
is a fellow countryman,
es un hermano, un
a fellow
paisano,
relative.
un paisano.
He's a paisano. Did you just go Italian?
It's the same word in Spanish.
Oh,
Paisano, countryman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. So they're not going to tell you to break Torah.
No te van a decir que quebrantes la Torah.
Because then, if they do try to tell you to break Torah,
Porque si tratan de decirte eso,
then it breaks what we're talking about.
entonces quebranta lo que estamos hablando.
All the parties have to agree with the Torah.
Todos tienen que estar de acuerdo con la Torah.
Okay? So here, do it willingly as slaves,
Dispuestos como esclavos,
because the Torah tells you that you're commanded to become a slave,
que la Torah nos manda ser esclavos
and it's the will of the Lord.
y es la voluntad del Señor.
Because he made rules about slavery.
Porque Él hizo las reglas sobre la esclavitud.
Because you broke the commandment.
Porque tú quebrantaste el mandamiento.
Okay, this is what he's trying to tell these new believers.
Esto es lo que Él está tratando de decir a estos nuevos creyentes.
Let's go on to the next slide, verse number 8.
A la próxima diapositiva, el versículo número 8.
Remember that whoever does good work, whether he be a slave or a free man, will be rewarded by the Lord. Amen?
Amén.
So now this is why we spend so much time on verse 5, 6, and 7.
Por eso que pasamos tanto tiempo en versículos 5, 6 y el 7.
Because now finally in verse 8,
Porque ahora finalmente en el versículo 8
it goes that if you are doing this willingly,
que dice que si estás haciendo esto voluntariamente,
taking your punishment,
tomando tu castigo,
you Hector or Franklin? Okay, Gregorio's on.
oh good.
Okay, so if you're doing this with a positive attitude,
Si estás haciendo esto con una actitud positiva,
taking your punishment
tomando tu castigo
with a positive
con
attitude,
con una actitud positiva,
if you're doing good work,
si estás haciendo buen trabajo,
you're going to be rewarded.
vas a ser premiado.
Or in some translations, it says receive back.
O en algunas traducciones dice que te regresen.
And receive back is,
Recibiendo de regreso significa
it is G2865,
es G2865,
and it means to carry,
significa cargar,
to bring to.
atraer.
Number 2, to receive,
Número 2, recibir,
obtain
obtener
the promised blessing.
la bendición prometida.
Number 3,
Número 3,
to receive what was previous one's own.
recibir lo que era de uno antes.
To get back,
Recibir de vuelta.
receive back,
Recibir de vuelta.
recover.
Recuperar. Thanks.
So remember, whoever does good work, whether it be freeman, verse 8, versículo 8, remember that whoever does good work, whether he be a slave or free man, will be rewarded by the Lord.
Amén.
So this reward,
So, este premio
you're going to get back what you're supposed to get back.
te van a regresar lo que deben regresar, lo
That's-
que era tuyo.
Now, how do you prove that?
¿Cómo tú puedes comprobar eso?
Because in the Torah,
Porque en la Torah
we have the year of Jubilee.
tenemos el año de jubileo.
This is another proof that he's teaching the Torah.
Esto es otra prueba que él estaba enseñando Torah.
Because even if you sold everything,
Porque aunque hayas vendido todo,
now this is where it does apply in the land.
ahora esto es a donde aplica en la tierra.
But this was also the way that the Constitution of the United States was formed.
Pero esto también es como se formó la Constitución de los Estados Unidos.
So let's say you were a slave.
So digamos que eres esclavo.
After the 7 years, you can receive your land back
Después de los 7 años tú puedes recibir de vuelta tu tierra
because you paid the price.
porque tú pagaste el precio.
And at minimum, after the 50-year Jubilee, you would receive the land back.
Y al mínimo en el jubileo de 50 años recibirás de vuelta la tierra.
But if you're a slave
Pero si eres esclavo
and you keep not doing your work,
y sigues en no hacer tu trabajo,
then you're going to keep being a slave because you're going to keep losing your monies.
entonces vas a seguir siendo esclavo porque vas a seguir perdiendo tu dinero.
You keep making the same mistakes, you're going to not reach the goal of heaven.
Sigues cometiendo los mismos errores, no vas a llegar a la meta del cielo.
Let's go on to the next slide.
A la próxima diapositiva.
Verse number 8 again.
Versículo número 8 nuevamente.
Remember that whoever does good work, whether he be a slave or a free man, will be rewarded by the Lord.
Amén.
Okay? You must have come to pick up the fish. Okay? So now we're focusing on whoever does a good thing.
O sea, ahora nos estamos enfocando al que haga algo bueno.
Now, I know it will be hard to be a slave,
Yo sé que será difícil ser esclavo.
but it may happen.
Tal vez suceda.
You may have thought something was going to work and it didn't.
Tal vez pensabas que algo iba a funcionar y no funcionó.
And you had a bad business deal go wrong.
Y te fracasó un negocio.
But what he's encouraging these believers to do,
lo que él está animando a estos creyentes en hacer,
that wherever the Lord puts you,
que a donde quiera que el Señor te ponga,
whatever trial you go through,
cualquier prueba que pases,
however he's burning up the chaff in you,
como sea que él está quemando la basura en ti,
however he's trying to refine you,
como sea que él te está tratando de refinar,
just do good work.
solo hagas el buen trabajo. Oh, that's Brittany. I didn't recognize her. I didn't recognize her.
Okay, so doing your work as if you're doing it to the Lord all the time.
Hacer tu trabajo como si lo estuviera haciendo al Señor todo el tiempo.
Whenever a man does what is right,
Cuando sea que un hombre haga lo que es correcto
in the Lord's eyes,
en los ojos del Señor,
you will be justly rewarded.
tú vas a ser premiado justamente.
Now you might have to go through a storm or two,
Tal vez tenga que pasar por una tormenta o dos.
chimichangas.
Check. Just put him in a stick.
Cuy,
Yeah, for him.
cuy. But they don't eat cuy. They call it cuy in Ecuador. They put them on sticks, they stretch them out and they roast them.
That's exactly what we do with them.
See what you just did? Somebody just left. Okay, so let's get back to the study.
Vamos a regresar al estudio.
Okay, now, no matter what where you are in life,
No importa donde estés en la vida,
whether you're a teenager or a child,
que seas niño o adolescente,
you're single or married,
soltero o casado,
no matter where you are,
no importa donde estés,
do everything to the Lord is what Shaul is saying.
haz todo como si lo estuviera haciendo al Señor, dice Saúl.
I mean, you can apply this to your secular work
Tú puedes aplicar esto a tu trabajo secular,
because you don't know who you're touching.
porque no sabes quién estás tocando,
You don't know who's watching you.
no sabes quién te está mirando.
But that is a great suggestion
Eso es una buena sugerencia.
because in everything that we do, we're supposed to do it to the Lord.
En todo lo que hacemos debemos de hacerlo como si lo estuviéramos haciendo hacia el Señor.
But what he's specifically writing about here
Pero lo que él está escribiendo específicamente aquí,
is you have to do it with a glad heart,
que lo tienes que hacer con un corazón alegre,
because here Jehovah is watching you what you're going to do.
porque aquí Jehová te está mirando lo que debes de hacer. Lo que
So
tienes que
if
hacer.
you're a kid
Si eres niño
and your parents tell you a lie,
y tus padres te dicen que mientes,
you tell the truth no matter what it costs you.
tú di la verdad, no importa lo que te cueste,
No matter what it costs you.
no importa lo que te cueste.
Don't worry, the Lord keeps score.
No te apures que el Señor guarda notas.
Okay? So here he's telling you if you made a mistake and you're in a bad situation,
Si cometiste un error y estás en una situación mala,
do your duty to God
haz tu deber a Dios,
as if if you're a slave, do it to make believe he's God.
Si eres esclavo, pretende que tu amo es Dios,
Because he is your God.
porque en sí tu amo es tu Dios,
Because that master is in charge of you.
porque ese amo está a cargo tuyo.
Let's go on to the next slide.
A la próxima diapositiva.
Let's now do verse 7 through 9.
Ahora vamos a leer versículos 7 al 9.
Work willingly as slaves as people do who are serving not merely human beings, but the Lord. Remember that whoever does good work, whether he is a slave or a free man, will be rewarded by the Lord. And masters, treat your slaves the same way. Don't threaten them. Remember that in heaven, both you and they have the same master, and he has no favorites. Okay? Once again, we finally get back to verse 9 for section 2.
Nuevamente llegamos al versículo 9 en la sección 2.
And this is proof that once again he's teaching Torah to the Gentiles.
Esto es prueba nuevamente que le está enseñando la Torah a los gentiles.
Because pagans don't get into heaven.
Porque los paganos no entran al cielo.
Remember that both of you but remember that in heaven both you and they have the same master.
Acuérdate que en el cielo tú y ellos tienen el mismo amo y él no tiene favoritos.
You know, it's amazing that most people skip over this line.
Es bien asombrante que muchos saltan este versículo.
How many people have actually seen this line before?
¿Cuántos en verdad han visto este versículo?
Pink Lady, have you ever seen this line before? Did you ever think about this line before? Not really. What about you, Ben? Did you ever see this line before?
It's like everything else in the Bible. You read, and then one year you open up and you read it again, and it's like, who put that in here? That wasn't there last year. I guess that's why they call it the living word of God, because every time you open it, there's something new in there.
Sandra, were you ever taught this in the other Messianic congregation? Hi, Ivana. Never taught this? Sean, never taught this? Okay. Yeah, a lot of people teach slavery. Well, we just, because they look at Joseph, and that is a good account.
Ellos miran a José y eso es un buen cuento,
But that is the exception.
pero esa es la excepción.
Here he's, like I said, these people have come out of worshiping Artemis,
Como he dicho, esta gente ha salido de adorar a Artemisa,
Aphrodite,
Afrodita,
and you hated your master,
y tú odiabas a tu amo.
okay? Because even in American slavery,
Hasta en la esclavitud americana,
I don't know how many of the black people love the white slave owner.
the house Negro did. There was two slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The field Negro hated the master. The house Negro loved his master because he ate all the best stuff, and the field Negro ate all the scraps. But the house Negro, that's why within the African American community, those African Americans that kind of take favor to the white man, they call them Uncle Toms, and that's the same thing that they did in slave time.
Same thing that they're doing today.
Same thing that they're doing today.
What, Kaepernick?
He ain't American.
You should try to play CFL football. Maybe they'll hire you.
Yeah, right.
Maybe Arena League.
They don't want him.
Maybe the Lingerie League. Because you certainly weren't a good quarterback.
Yeah.
All right, back to this.
Regresando a esto.
All right. So verse number 9 is if you have it underlined in your Bible, you really should.
El versículo 9, si no lo has subrayado en tus Biblias, lo debe de hacer.
Because people that are witches or Buddhists are not getting into heaven.
Porque las brujas y los budistas no van a entrar al cielo.
Okay, so pagans don't get into heaven.
So los paganos no entran al cielo.
Now in verse number 9,
Ahora el versículo 9.
it says, Masters, treat your slave the same way, don't threaten them. Remember that in heaven both you and they have the same master, and he has no favorites. So that means you're in heaven. So it goes back to your question.
So eso significa que ya estás en el cielo, y eso regresa a la pregunta del hermano.
Okay, because you passed trial.
Porque ya has pasado la prueba.
Okay, everybody gets to heaven.
O ya has pasado el juicio. Todos
For
entran
Yeshua
al
to
cielo.
say to you, I don't know you.
Para Yeshua decirle que no te conozco.
Because he says he's going to say it to your face.
Porque dice que te lo vas a decir a tu cara.
But now he flips it and he says to the master.
Ahora él le da vuelta y se lo está diciendo a los amos.
Okay, he says to the masters.
Le dice a los amos.
He's telling them, don't threaten your slaves.
Él está diciendo que no amenacen.
So this all,
Amenacen. no amenacen tus esclavos.
Okay?
Yeah.
So this also proves that these are believers and they're being taught Torah.
Esto también prueba que ellos son creyentes y están siendo instruidos en la Torah.
Because there are rules to employment.
Porque hay reglas para el empleo.
And there's rules in the Torah for slavery.
Y hay reglas en la Torah sobre la esclavitud.
Because in category 13 of the law,
Porque en categoría 13 de la ley,
in the Maimonides breakdown or the Ramban's breakdown of the
en
law,
la división de Maimónides de la ley,
in category 13,
en categoría 13
it is entitled employees, servants, and slaves.
se titula empleados, sirvientes y esclavos.
And there are 19 laws in that category.
Y hay 19 leyes en esa categoría.
So this proves that he's teaching the Torah to the Gentiles.
So esto comprueba que él está enseñándole la Torah a los gentiles.
And I don't think Ephesus was in Israel, right?
Y yo no creo que Efesios estaba en Israel, ¿verdad que no? I don't think so.
I hope you're watching, Joseph, the guy I was talking to on Facebook today.
Espero que esté mirando, está con nosotros José, que encontré en Facebook hoy día.
I gotta tell everybody this story. It's a classic.
Yo tengo que contarle esta historia a todos, es clásico.
I use Facebook to announce what's playing on the radio.
Yo uso el Facebook para anunciar lo que está tocando en la radio.
So I've been trying to make as many friends as possible.
So, intentando hacer lo más amigos que pueda.
You gotta go to WTRCradio.com.
Tienes que sintonizarte con WTRCradio.com.
So there's this thing in I'm not a big Facebook person.
Yo no uso el Facebook mucho.
I now have 500 close friends.
Ahora tengo 500 amigos cercanos.
Okay.
How long have you been on?
Since Mike Zuckerberg was in Pampers.
Longer than Kaepernick's had a career.
Since Facebook was 3.5, right? Beta version.
Okay. So this guy says in the instant messenger area,
En el mensajero instantáneo, él me escribe.
and he says, "Oh, have you checked out this other radio station?" I'm like, "Oh, cool. There's another radio station."
Él dice, ¿has visto esta otra estación de radio? Y el rabino
It's
dijo,
not a
"Ah,
radio station.
qué bueno, hay otra estación de radio. No
It's
es,
another talk station.
no es otra estación de radio, es otra estación de hablar.
But the only one that's playing music 90% of the time is WTRCradio.com.
El único que está tocando música 90% del tiempo es WTRC.com.
So this guy says, are you Torah observant? I'm like, yeah.
So este muchacho viene y me dice, ¿tú eres observante de la Torah? Y yo digo, sí.
So I say to him, are you Torah observant?
Y yo le pregunto, ¿eres tú observante de la Torah?
So I look at his picture.
So, miro la foto de él.
Now listen up.
Escuchen,
The guy doesn't have a beard.
él no tiene barba.
So I said, where's your beard?
So le pregunto, ¿a dónde está tu barba?
He says, this guy Joseph says,
Este individuo, Joseph, dice
you only have to have a beard when you're in Israel.
dice que solo tienes que tener barba cuando estás en Israel. Don't choke on your water, bro. So don't choke on your...
You only have to have a beard when you live in Israel.
Solo necesitas barba cuando estés en Israel.
It's like Gregorio trying to fix the camera. Everything's upside down. I'm like, so here Shaul is teaching the Torah to the pagans
Aquí Shaul está enseñando la Torá a los paganos
who have now converted to Messianic Judaism.
que se han convertido al judaísmo mesiánico.
And he's teaching them the categories of the law.
Y le está enseñando las categorías de
Well,
la
the
ley.
categories came afterwards, but he was teaching the law.
Las categorías vino mucho después, pero él estaba enseñando la ley.
Let's go to the next slide.
Vamos a la próxima diapositiva.
Verse number 9.
Versículo 9.
And masters, treat your slaves the same way, don't threaten them. Remember that in heaven both of you and they have the same master, and he has no favorites. Okay? So in the oldest manuscripts,
En los manuscritos más antiguos,
instead of it's saying just the master,
dice solamente el amo.
it says their master and yours.
Dice el amo de ellos y tuyo.
Okay, it's a very important phrase.
Es una frase bien importante.
Okay, it says their master and yours.
Dice el amo de ellos y tuyo.
In the complete Jewish Bible that we're reading from,
En la Biblia completa judía que de a donde estamos leyendo,
I think it says it a little bit clearer.
pienso que lo dice un poco más claro.
That in heaven both of you and they have the same master.
Que en el cielo tú y ellos tienen el mismo amo.
Okay. Going on to the next slide.
En la próxima diapositiva,
Verse number 9 again.
versículo 9 nuevamente.
And masters, treat your slaves the same way. Don't threaten them. Remember that in heaven both of you and they have the same master and he has no favorites. Okay? So here in heaven we're all going to be equal.
So aquí en el cielo todos vamos a ser igual.
Okay? The word favorites,
La palabra favorito,
in some translations it's the word partiality.
en algunas traducciones es parcial.
It is G4382.
Es G4382.
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 It is the definition respect of persons.
Respeto de personas.
And number 2, partiality.
Y número 2, parcialidad.
So once we get to heaven, there's no Jew or Gentile.
So cuando lleguemos al cielo no hay judío o gentil.
And the Gentile has to follow the law.
Y el gentil tiene que seguir la ley.
They become part of Israel,
Viene a ser parte de Israel,
but they don't change their DNA.
pero no cambian su ADN.
Just like men don't have babies.
Igual que los hombres no tienen bebés.
I know these people with mental disorders think that a man can become a woman.
Yo sé que esta gente con desórdenes mentales piensan que un hombre puede ser una mujer.
Or they're trying to promote that a man can have menstrual cramps.
Lo que están tratando de promover es que le pueden dar los calambres menstruales a los hombres, los cólicos. ¿El qué? Calambre de los pies. Cólico es de la mujer.
The reason I'm saying
Estamos hablando
this,
de hombres.
the reason I'm saying this
La razón que estamos diciendo esto
is because what the world is doing is playing the Nazi handbook.
porque lo que el mundo está haciendo es jugando los juegos, las movidas de los nazis.
Joseph Goebbels said this:
Joseph Goebbels dijo esto:
tell a big enough lie
di una mentira
often enough,
suficientemente
the people will eventually believe it.
que si repites la mentira suficientemente, la gente viene a creerlo.
Okay, so there is Jew and Gentile.
Hay judío y gentil,
Okay, but in heaven there will be no Jew and Gentile,
pero en el cielo no va a haber judío o gentil,
because in the end
porque al fin
only 144,000 virgin Jewish men with the bloodline of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov.
porque en el final solamente 144 hombres vírgenes judíos con la sangre de Abraham, Yitzhak y Jacob
Will call back Messiah,
van a llamar de regreso al Mesías,
because it is only those virgin Jewish men
porque solamente esos hombres judíos vírgenes
that have his name
que tienen el nombre de él
and the Father's name.
y del Padre.
That is Revelation 7 and Revelation 14.
Eso se encuentra en Apocalipsis 7 y Apocalipsis
A
14.
Gentile can be grafted in.
Que un gentil puede ser injertado.
A Gentile has to follow the Torah's laws.
Un gentil tiene que seguir las leyes de la Torah.
But just like a man is not going to give birth to a baby,
Pero igual que un hombre no va a dar a luz a un bebé,
a Gentile is not going to call back the Mashiach.
un gentil no va a llamar de regreso al Mesías.
It's not anything that's bad, it's just what God has said.
No es nada malo, es simplemente lo que Dios ha dicho.
You know, Hitler didn't try to kill off all the Gentiles.
Hitler no trató de matar a todos los gentiles.
Why did he want to kill all the Jews?
Porque él quería matar a todos los
Because
judíos.
Satan believes that if he kills all the Hebrew men,
Porque Satanás cree que si él mata a todos los hombres hebreos,
then he can stay here on earth forever.
entonces él piensa que se puede quedar aquí en la tierra para
But
siempre.
what Shaul is saying here in verse number 9,
Lo que Shaul está diciendo aquí en el versículo 9,
in heaven, the Father's not going to have any favorites.
que no va a haber favoritos, el Padre no va a tener favoritos en el cielo.
Let's go to the next slide.
Vamos a la próxima diapositiva.
Okay, any questions about section number 2?
Hay preguntas sobre la sección número 2.
Okay, we're going to read it one last time and then move on to section 3. Any questions?
Vamos a leerlo una vez más y seguir con la sección.
Anna's
número
giving me the finger.
Rabino, yo quiero saber si los 144,000 que llaman al Mesías tienen que ser estrictamente de sangre judía o pueden ser injertados al árbol de Israel.
Paraphrasing.
Okay, she says she wants to know that if the 144,000 have to have Jewish blood, or can they be engrafted?
They have to have the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov.
Tienen que tener la sangre de Abraham, Yitzhak y Jacob, no pueden ser injertados.
Because it says they have his name and the Father's
Porque
name.
dice que tiene el nombre de él y del Padre.
And God did not make a covenant with the Gentiles. He made a covenant with Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov in that bloodline.
Y Dios no hizo un pacto con los gentiles, hizo un pacto con Abraham, Yitzhak y Jacob, con esa línea sanguínea.
So they have a special, wonderful job. They
Sanguínea.
have a special, wonderful job.
De ellos tienen un trabajo especialmente espectacular.
Any other questions about section 2?
Hay preguntas sobre la sección número 2.
Okay, let's move on to section number 3,
Vamos a la sección número 3,
verse 10 through 13.
versículos 10 al 13.
Finally, grow powerful in union with the Lord, in union with his mighty strength. Use all the armor and weaponry that God provides so that you'll be able to stand against the deceptive tactics of the adversary. For we are not struggling against human beings, but against rulers, authorities, and cosmic powers governing this darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realm. So take up every piece of war equipment God provides, so when the evil day comes, you'll be able to resist. When the battle is won, you will still be standing. Let's go to the next slide for the synopsis.
Vamos a la próxima diapositiva para el resumen.
In this section number 3,
En esta sección número 3,
we see that you cannot battle in the heavenly realm
vemos que no puedes batallar en los
in the
cielos,
spiritual world.
en el mundo espiritual,
without first being in union with Elohim.
sin primero estar en unión con Elohim.
You can't even think about battling the devil.
No puedes ni pensar en batallar contra el diablo.
You know, the church, has that song, dancing on the devil's head.
La iglesia tiene esa canción danzando en la cabeza del diablo.
Okay? You're not dancing on his head.
Tú no estás danzando en la cabeza de
If
él.
you're eating your ham sandwich and putting up Christmas trees.
Si estás comiendo tu sándwich de jamón y montando el árbol de Navidad.
If you're praying to an idol in the Catholic Church, you're not dancing on the devil's
Si
head.
estás rezándole a un ídolo en la iglesia católica, no estás danzando en la cabeza del diablo.
Okay, so the first thing here that we're going to look at in verse 10 when we move on
So, lo primero que vamos a mirar aquí en el versículo 10, antes de seguir,
is you can't even put the equipment on.
no tan siquiera no puedes ponerte el equipo,
You can't even put the war equipment on
no puedes ponerte el equipo de guerra
until you first learn to apply the Torah to your life.
hasta que primero aprendas cómo aplicar la Torah en tu
You
vida.
know, it's like thinking this is a sword. I'm going to get you, Satan.
Joe Pesci used it really good though.
And Sean Connery did it.
You didn't see the movie when he was like, "What? You think I'm funny? You think I'm funny? You think I'm a laugh?"
Goodfellas.
Yeah, Goodfellas. He used the pen really good. No, es como decir este polígrafo es una espada.
Yoda used the pen really good.
Yoda también usó el bolígrafo bien bueno. Muy bien.
Satan is not going to be afraid of a pen.
Satanás no le va a temer a un bolígrafo.
Let's move on to the next slide.
Vamos a la próxima
We're
diapositiva.
going to go for 15 more minutes. We'll get through maybe verse 10.
Vamos a seguir por 15 minutos a terminar el versículo 10.
Let's read verse 10 and 11.
Vamos a leer versículos 10 y 11.
Finally, grow powerful in union with the Lord, in union with his mighty strength. Use all the armor and weaponry that God provides, so that you'll be able to stand against the deceptive tactics of the adversary.
Amen.
So here in verse 10,
Aquí en el versículo 10,
he's changing the subject.
él está cambiando el tema.
As I said at the beginning of the Ephesians 6 study,
Como dije en el principio del estudio de Efesios 6,
there are four distinctive areas of this chapter that have nothing to do with one another.
hay 4 áreas distintas en este capítulo que no tienen que ver el uno con el otro.
Except that you have Elohim or as a thread throughout the chapter.
Excepto que tienes a Elohim como como el tema principal
Yes.
del capítulo.
Okay, as a principle throughout the scripture. Okay, because here he was talking about being a slave.
Aquí él estaba hablando sobre ser esclavo.
Now he's talking about putting on armor.
Ahora él está hablando sobre ponerte la armadura.
I guess you could say that slaves might put on armor, but slaves aren't going to fight very good.
Pero yo pienso que puede que los esclavos se pongan la armadura, pero los esclavos no van a pelear muy bien.
Okay, so here in verse 10 he says, grow powerful in union with the Lord.
Aquí en el versículo 10 dice que crezcas poderoso en unión con el Señor.
In union, in some translations, it's be strong.
En unión en algunas traducciones es ser fuerte.
It is G1743.
Es G1743.
It means, number one, to be strong,
Significa número 1 ser fuerte,
strengthen.
fortalecer.
Number two, to receive strength,
Número 2 recibir fuerzas,
be strengthened,
ser fortalecido.
increase in strength.
Incrementar en fuerza.
Okay, so here's a question.
Aquí hay una pregunta.
How does a person strengthen in the Lord?
¿Cómo una persona se fortalece en el Señor?
If Jehovah or Yeshua is holy, how do you get closer?
Si Jehová o Yeshua son santos, ¿cómo es que te acercas a ellos?
So how do you get strengthened in the Lord?
¿Cómo es que te fortaleces en el Señor?
How do you get through trials?
¿Cómo es que pasas pruebas?
Do you run away from the congregation?
¿Te huyes de la congregación
Or do you draw closer to the Lord through the congregation?
o te acercas más al Señor a través de la congregación?
Especially one that's teaching the Torah to everybody.
Especialmente uno que esté enseñándole la Torah a todos.
See, the only way you're going to get through a storm
De la única manera que vas a poder pasar por una tormenta,
because sometimes the storm destroys your home,
porque a veces la tormenta destruye tu hogar, tu
right?
casa.
You know, our pal Sean said he had a home destroyed. Was that in Jersey or on the island? Jersey?
That was in Breezy Point,
Breezy Point, Long Island.
Brooklyn, Queens.
Breezy, okay, Queens. Okay,
The beginning of Long Island.
so when you, it's like, you know, I was talking to Rav Will,
Estaba hablando con el rabino Will.
and in North Carolina, they have such strong winds on the mountains.
En Carolina del Norte tienen vientos fuertes en las montañas.
When you build a home, you have to build a home that can withstand a 160 mile an hour wind.
Cuando construyes una casa, tienes que construirla que pueda aguantar vientos de 160 millas por hora.
So we're supposed to be the temple of the Lord.
So debemos ser el templo del Señor.
Once you get blown down,
Ya cuando te derrumban
or a storm destroys your life,
o una tormenta destruye tu vida
and you're not dead,
y no estás muerto,
well, then you build stronger.
entonces construyes más fuerte.
So the only way to build your life stronger
De única manera construir o reedificar tu vida más fuerte
is to be in union with the Lord, and that's what Shaul was saying to these people.
es estar en unión con el Señor, y eso es lo que Shaul está diciendo a esta gente.
How do you become in union with the Lord?
¿Cómo es que cómo es que te unes al Señor?
If He's holy,
Si Él es santo,
how do you become holy?
¿cómo es que tú puedes ser santo?
It's in the classroom.
Oh.
Okay, so he's saying, let's read verse 10 again.
So Él está diciendo, vamos a leer el versículo 10 nuevamente.
Because everybody, wants to put on, I want to put on the armor of God.
Porque todos se quieren poner la armadura de Dios.
The Christians, have their VBS or Vacation Bible School.
Los cristianos tienen su escuela bíblica de vacaciones.
And they tell, the kids are, I'm going to put on the armor of God.
Y los niños están, me voy a poner la armadura de Dios.
And you're not putting on anything if you're going to Sunday church,
No te vas a poner nada si estás yendo a la iglesia los domingos,
except makeup and nail polish and lipstick.
excepto maquillaje,
Because I got to look good going to church.
porque me tengo que ver bien chulisnaki para ir a...
God sees you when you wake up in the morning.
Dios te mira cuando tú despiertas en la
God
mañana.
can smell your bad breath before you brush your teeth.
Fat dragon breath. Dios puede oler tu
Did you hear that,
aliento.
Maritza?
Tú puede oler tu aliento en la mañana cuando te despiertas.
Okay. So, verse number 10,
Versículo número 10.
finally grow powerful in union with the Lord, in union with His mighty strength. Okay? So the word strength
So, la palabra fuerza
means to be strengthened,
significa ser fortalecido.
is to learn the laws,
Es aprender las leyes,
but as part of your life.
pero como parte de tu vida.
See, if you're doing Shabbat just because you have to do Shabbat,
Si estás haciendo el Shabbat porque tienes que cumplir con hacerlo,
that is good to be obedient.
es bueno ser obediente.
But as soon as things go bad, you're going to drop Shabbat.
Pero cuando las cosas se ponen malas, vas a dejar el Shabbat.
If you have to choose between eating, because and not eating,
Si tienes que escoger entre comer y no comer,
you have to go to work because it's Shabbat.
tienes que ir al trabajo porque es Shabbat.
Your boss said he's going to fire you.
Tu jefe te dice que te va a votar. Sí, ya.
Okay, you say see ya,
Le dice, chao, hasta la vista.
Time to say bye.
Ya.
but then the Lord's put you through the fire.
Pero entonces el Señor te ha puesto en el fuego.
Now you're out of work for 2 months, and the
6 months.
any savings that you had is now gone.
Los ahorros que ha tenido ya se han terminado.
See, the thing is, we have to do the law because we love the Lord.
Lo que pasa aquí es que tenemos que hacer la ley porque amamos al Señor. Oh snap, look at him.
All right, this is ridiculous tonight with these freaky animals.
You need to be here.
Yeah, you should see the sandwich which we had, the cake we had,
Yeah, that double
and
grilled cheese.
Pink Lady brought pizza.
Pink Lady pizza.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let me just see what the next slide is. One more slide, and then we're going to close for the study for tonight.
Una diapositiva más.
Verse number 10 again.
Versículo número 10 nuevamente.
Finally grow powerful in union with the Lord, in union with his mighty strength. So now we have to grow powerful in union with his strength.
So ahora tenemos que estar fuerte en unión con su fuerza.
Strength is G2904.
Fuerza es G2904.
Number 1 is force.
Número 1 es fuerza.
Strength.
Fuerza.
Number 2, power.
Poder.
Might. Might, Rabbi.
Poderoso. Poder.
Number 3 is your key one, dominion.
Número 3 es dominio.
So strength is his dominion.
La fuerza es su dominio.
So he's once again talking about keeping the laws of God.
Nuevamente él está hablando sobre guardar las leyes de Dios.
It's very important
Es bien importante
that if you're going to defeat the enemy,
que si vas a derrotar al enemigo,
it is not only important to keep the laws,
no es simplemente importante guardar las leyes,
but also to love keeping the laws.
pero también amar en guardar las leyes.
Like it's one thing to love Shabbat,
Es una cosa amar Shabbat,
but if you can't love your neighbor
pero si no puedes amar a tu vecino
and you don't forgive your neighbor,
y no perdonas a tu vecino,
well, who is my neighbor?
¿quién es mi vecino?
Well, one that's trying to keep the laws just like you're trying to keep the laws.
Uno que está tratando de guardar las leyes igual que tú.
But if you're not forgiving that person,
Pero si no estás perdonando a esa persona,
then why are you even keeping Shabbat?
entonces, ¿por qué estás guardando Shabbat?
Because Yeshua forgave us.
Yeshua nos perdonó a nosotros.
So the more you act like Yeshua,
So, entre más tratas de ser como Yeshua,
the more you're going to grow in strength, is what Shaul is telling them here.
es a donde vas a crecer más en la fuerza, es lo que Shaul nos está diciendo aquí.
Okay? Because if you want to be in his dominion,
Porque si quieres estar en su dominio,
you're going to be able to meet your enemies.
vas a poder encontrarte con tus enemigos.
He reminds them that you have to be the strength of the Lord,
Él le acuerda que tienen que ser la fuerza del Señor
and then there's hope and victory.
y hay esperanza en la victoria.
And he's saying you have to be strong in the Lord,
Y Él está diciendo que tienen que ser fuertes en el Señor,
because he's quoting from Deuteronomy 31, verse 23.
porque Él está citando Deuteronomio 31:23.
Because you got to be strong and courageous.
Porque tienes que ser valiente y fuerte.
This is what he was telling Yehoshua.
Esto es lo que le estaba diciendo a Yehoshua.
So now he's telling this to the Gentiles.
Ahora le está diciendo esto a los gentiles.
Oh, he was teaching the Gentiles Torah.
Oh, él estaba enseñándole a los gentiles Torah.
Well, that's all the time we have for tonight.
Ese es todo el tiempo que tenemos esta
M-I-C,
tarde.
oh,
See you real soon.
K-E-Y,
Why? Because we like you.
M-O-U-S-E. Shalom a todo. Well, see you next week on the Remnant's Call, Messianic City Gate Bible Study on WTRCradio.com.
Shalom, this is Messianic Rabbi Andrew Dinnerman. I would personally like to thank you for tuning in to the Remnant's Call each and every week. You can listen to the full message on our website, bethgoyim.org. If you have drawn closer to the King of Kings, learned more about Him today, we are blessed. If you are blessed by these messages, please consider a donation to our ministry. You can go to our website, bethgoyim.org. That's BETHGOYIM.org, and click on the donate button. You do not have to have a PayPal account to donate. All you need is a debit card. Once again, thank you very much for listening to The Remnant's Call.
If you have not taken your first steps to be born again, just ask God's help. Remember, it's His loving grace that has come to find you. No one is worthy or able to reach God, but God can reach us, and He's reaching out to you now. Just open your heart and let Him in. His arms are open, and the blessing of salvation and eternal life are waiting for you. Don't let it wait any longer.
Ya Adonai, panavoleka, vikuneka, Yisa Adonai, panavoleka, vayasem laka, shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord lift His face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious unto you and give you His shalom. Shalom. My name is Messianic Rabbi Andrew Dinnerman, and I invite you to come to visit our congregation. If you are in the tri-state area, come out and visit with us on Shabbat. We are a congregation of Jews and Gentiles, living as one in the Messiah Yeshua. Bgmc is a place of true worship. The focus never wanders from the Hebraic roots of our faith. Beth Goyim is rooted in the Word of God from Bereshit through to the book of Revelation. Messiah's strong words against man-made tradition are carefully recorded in Matthew 7. That is the reason we only follow the straight-up instructions found in Scripture, truly the way, the truth, and the life. If you're looking for a deeper walk with Adonai, come out for our Tuesday evening Bible study called Messianic Torah Time. Come, spend the day with us on any Shabbat. We start at 11 a.m. with the sound of the ancient Hebrew shofar. Next, we offer our King praise and worship in English, Hebrew, and Spanish. After worship, we review the headlines in the previous week's news from around the globe, especially news from the Holy Land, Israel. We don't just list the news headlines as current events, but we comb through the scriptures, searching for clues to understand what they mean and then to help pinpoint prophetically our current position on Adonai's clock. After digesting all that modern information, we leave the world behind as we journey with our Adonai deep into His eternal Word, not with just one or two scriptures, but usually 7 or more scriptures. The spiritual nourishment and the richness of His kingdom become accessible to the ones who share this special time and seek them out. The day does not end there. Because Shabbat is so special to Him, there is always so much more that our King desires to share. So instead of separating and leaving, we stay together as a family for potluck lunch and an afternoon study of our King's Word. We close the Shabbat together with the reading of the new week's parashah. That's the Torah portion. Even after those blessings, many of us just can't get enough. So the members bring prepared homemade foods to share while we all enjoy an uplifting movie together. If all that information is not quite enough, you can check out our website where you will find over 200 video teachings and biblical holy day studies. Under Messianic Torah Time, the Hebrew Roots button, you'll discover free studies on many different topics, including PowerPoint slide presentations. If Beth Goyim sounds like a place you'd love to visit, but you live outside the tri-state area, there is still a way to connect with us. We stream live on the internet on Tuesday, Thursday, and Shabbat. The website is www.bethgoyim.org. That's BETHGOYIM.org. Our phone number is 973-338-7800 or 978-2-YESHUA. That's 978, the number 2, Yeshua. Shalom.